Hi, I'm Chloe.
And I'm Sylvia.
And we are going to talk a little bit on how to network and places you can network. So there are a lot of different advantages to networking. Networking can help you get into a lab or discover new career opportunities by introducing you to areas of research you might enjoy and people you might work well with. Projects can benefit from the expertise of scientists in your field or even other fields. If you encounter an unfamiliar situation or problem, it's likely that one of your colleagues will have helpful experiences to share. Networking allows people to grow both individually and toward a professional goal because they need to be able to exchange ideas and processes in order to learn in advance. Regardless of how smart or talented or capable you are, you'll typically learn from those around you faster than you can learn on your own. This includes learning what to do to be successful and what to avoid doing to keep sabotaging yourself. Finally, networking ensures that preparedness and response capabilities are available when necessary. No lab can do everything, but a community of laboratories can share information and strategies to quickly and effectively solve problems. You can network almost anywhere, in your lab, in your major, in your clubs, at conferences, or on social media. First, we're going to talk about how you can form connections beginning in your lab. As an undergraduate student, you have access to the skills, knowledge, and experiences of your PI, your lab manager, grad students, other undergrads, and more. These connections will help you learn more about what it's like to do graduate or postgraduate level research. It could also help you build connections to people your colleagues know in other institutions. For example, if you decide to pursue grad school somewhere else. Sylvia and I both work in the Wilson lab and have the opportunity to connect with and learn from all of these people and more. Whether you're just starting out in a lab or have worked there for years, making connections can be daunting. The easiest way to network is just to start a casual conversation. So when it's safe to do so, again, you can bring stuff to work on into the break room or a common area and talk to people in your lab, whether it's about your research or life and your interests in general. You should be able to summarize your research in about 30 seconds. When attending lab meeting presentations, make sure to stay engaged and ask questions. This will help cement a positive impression and make you and your research interests more memorable to other people in your lab, especially if you work in a very big lab with a lot of undergraduates. Make sure you know everyone's names and what they're working on. You never know how one of those connections could benefit you both in the future. Another way to network through your lab is to attend talks, workshops, and conferences that your PI might send to your lab email list. Many of these opportunities are now more accessible because they're offered virtually and can be a great way to get to know other people in your lab that you might not work with regularly and meet undergrads and graduate students working in different labs and departments. After you meet someone whose work you're interested in, you could connect with them over LinkedIn or send them an email to ask them more about their research. Following up and staying in touch is an important part of solidifying and maintaining connections you might make through networking. This is also useful even if the talk or conference isn't directly related to your area of research. Forming connections with people working in different fields can help you solve problems and challenges you encounter in the future with an interdisciplinary approach, and it can be a very good way to expand your knowledge and skill set and explore career options you might not have previously known about. Another way to network is through your major and clubs. For example, Sylvia and I are both neuroscience and cognitive science majors. We're both involved in clubs and organizations related to the major, such as Neurosci and NSCSAS. You can learn about different opportunities for professional and academic growth through your advisors or other people you meet in your major. Getting involved in major-related clubs and organizations can help you form connections with other passionate individuals in your area of discipline, which can be useful for future collaborations or helping you figure out your academic or career path after getting your undergrad degree. You can also learn about research being done in your field from your professors and can use your classes as an opportunity to get to know them and talk about your research.
So now moving on to some more external opportunities for networking. One of the most useful ones is attending conferences. And a really great perk to being involved in your major and joining clubs, honoraries, or professional fraternities on campus is that they'll often either provide opportunities or incentives for attending professional development events like conferences. So you'll have the chance to bond with, as well as interact with and share knowledge from other people. So students in your major, in other majors, other labs, and people from around the country and around the world even. And this is also great because it can expose you to new ideas, techniques, and knowledge that can help you work in your own projects in your lab. So some of the ways in which you can network at conferences are by practicing your elevator pitch. So it's really good to prepare speeches that range from 30 seconds to 10 minutes, depending on who you're talking to and in what situation. So when introducing yourself, it's always best to begin with your name, your year in school, and your field of study. And then you can further tailor it. For example, if you're approaching a professional or a potential employer or a professional connection, you should include relevant skills that you have and some of your future career goals. And if you're presenting a poster to a potential collaborator, you should include your overarching research interests and hopes and ideas for future research. And next, usually at larger conferences, there will be company booths. So especially if you're interested in a career in industry, you should go talk to the people there, assuming we're in person, of course. And if you're interested for working for that company, so maybe a biotech company or optical instruments company, ask someone there if they have a business card available so you can contact them later, or if they have some sort of informational materials like a flyer or a brochure available. And if you're attending virtually, maybe privately message the presenter, tell them that you're interested, and ask for either more information about the company and potential opportunities, or ask for their contact information so that you can get in touch with them later. If you see a poster or a presentation that's interesting to you, you should ask questions. So if the project is related to yours, maybe discuss the problem that you're working on and get to know the presenter better, since you might meet a potential collaborator. Again, it's great to talk to people. If you're at a virtual conference, maybe ask questions in the chat and pay attention to who answers you, since they're probably knowledgeable about the subject and that might be helpful in your academic or professional career. Finally, stay in touch through social media. Conferences usually have some sort of attendee ledger, so maybe you'd really like to discuss a topic with someone who gave a presentation. So try to find their name and see if you can send them an email or request to connect on appropriate social media. And another really helpful tip is to download apps like LinkedIn on your phone so that when you meet someone, you have that connection right there so that you can contact them later. On the subject of social media, it's incredibly useful for professional networking. So we can talk about LinkedIn. So I personally recommend using LinkedIn to connect with people, since it provides so many great features, which we're going to explore in a little mini tutorial. So this is what the feed interface looks like. You'll see on the left-hand side that you can follow hashtags of topics you're interested in. So for example, I have women in science and neuroscience flags. So when you're constructing your LinkedIn profile, it'll read like a resume or a CV. So you'll have the ability to list experience, which should be done in reverse chronological order. And you'll see that I have my UBRP experience listed with details about my project and research duties, which include things like writing a press release about my project and also the tasks I did in the different technologies that I was able to use. So you'll also have the opportunity to list your education, awards, classes you've taken, and more. And another useful feature is the About section, which you can fill out. And this is a short description of you and your experience, so it'll read like an elevator pitch and is really useful for helping people connect with you and find you. So if you head over to the Network tab, you'll see suggestions for people to connect with. So if you see someone who is in your class, you could send them an invitation to connect. Also really useful to connect with your advisors over LinkedIn, since they have had experience to get to, or had a chance to get to know you in a professional context. So for example, I'm connected with Marissa, our lovely UBRP advisor on LinkedIn. And lastly, relating back to networking at conferences, again, it's really useful to have that app, and you can also find people who work in a similar field, and you can designate them as teammates or have people endorse you for different skills that you have. So a few other platforms that you can use are Handshake, and this is really useful for U of A students specifically to find different internships and jobs available. And then also using Twitter, so you can use hashtags to engage with topics and follow professionals in other labs in your fields and keep updated on the things that they're doing and the projects they're doing. And then Slack is basically like a professional group chat or GroupMe. So it's really useful for having different documents, and sometimes clubs or different organizations will have Slack chats to keep track of just different things that people are doing, and then documents, resources, etc. Thank you guys for listening to our presentation. Hopefully you learned a little bit about professional networking in STEM fields.
And we're excited. Thank you very much.